Hello, Sat Sri Akal, Namaskar. Welcome to One Foot Forward with Harmit, brought to you by One Race. As you all know, that One Race has been single-mindedly pursuing the goal of spreading happiness and promoting healthy lifestyle. In this journey, we have collected a lot of gold. And today, from our bag of gold, we have a very stunning nugget for you. A nugget that has redefined the definition of what is personal transformation. To a lot of us, personal transformation is about fitness. It is about keeping healthy, remaining active, shedding a few kilos, eating clean, and feel young. But our guest has repurposed his fitness regime into solving India's core problem, which is litter. Yes, today our guest is the Plogman of India, Ripudaman Bevil. Please stand by and let me invite him to One Foot Forward with Harmit, brought to you by One Race. Just hold on. So I'll wait for Ripu to join. And, and Ripudaman is here.
Sat Sri Akal ji, how are
Sat
you?
Sri Akal, Ripu. Great to see you. And before we let you speak, I have a small introduction note for you. So let me do the honors.
Okay, sure.
Fantastic. So Ripudaman is ex-techie. He is turned into a socialpreneur, is a marathoner, and an environmentalist. Somewhere down the line, when he was running, he picked up this art of picking up litter for us. He has organized more than 600 cleanup activities involving more than 150 schools and colleges across 100 plus cities. And some amazing stuff he has done, like 50 days, 50 cities, 1,000 cleanup, 1,000 kilometers of cleanup in all by foot. He's already awarded by the Prime Minister of India and is blogging ambassador of India as well as the ambassador for First Fit India. So great to Ripu to have you here on our show, One Foot Forward with Harmeet, and let's get going. Let's
Thank you so much
understand
for the
what
invitation and
the
thank you for having me.
yeah, great. So let's understand what this personal transformation about is. And the first question that I would like to put across to you is, what is plugging? Very simple, basic question.
It's just a fancy term for cleanup, just to get people motivated and inspired to join and safai kariye. That is why this term plogging. In essence, it's picking up litter while jogging, but for me, it's just a fancy term to get people involved and so that more and more people join and more people want to be a part of it. Because ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ start ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ 2016 ਚ, ਤਾਂ when you ask people to come for a cleanup, nobody turned up. But running like fitness like everyone turned up. So that was my cue to combine fitness and running with cleanup, and so that we could make cleaning up or picking up other people's litter the coolest thing to do in India. That was my like my philosophy or my goal, that I wanted everybody to be involved, and the only way to get people involved is to make that activity cool.
Absolutely. Fantastic points. But can you define, is there any origin for this word plugging? Because, while we totally understand you saying that, clogging is all about cleaning up litter,
Yeah.
but how was this term coined? Can you just give us a deep dive into that bit?
Yeah, it's a Swedish term. Plocka up is the Swedish word, which means pick up, plocka up, and jogging is an English word. So plocka up plus jogging becomes plogging.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, thank you for the explanation. So let's take, while you have already answered my next question, you preempted it, but I will still rephrase it for you.
Sure.
Generally people take up cycling or running for fitness, right? And you have kind of taken this to a next level. And I'm sure that there must be some trigger somewhere. Some incident may have happened which really put you onto this course. So, can you tell us more about that bit? That how did this happen to you?
I mean, I think all like anything that we like to do in this world, it starts from that first step, right? And sometimes we do not even know that we are taking that first step because we're not thinking big. We're just trying to solve the problem, or we're trying to be in the moment and trying to do our best. It happened the same with me. I've been a sports person all my life, but in 2012 I had a major hamstring injury. So 4 5 years I wasn't running, I wasn't doing any fitness activity, and the weight increased above 80, and I was in shock. And while I was in that shock, it reached 85 kilos as well. So I was like, this is not me. So I need to change it. So I started running again. Running came back into my life in 2016. And when you run in the morning, train in the morning, there are lesser people and no traffic. The thing that I observed most was litter, trash, and plastic. So I just started picking up. And we had a small WhatsApp group. So I started posting on it, and people were like, okay, we will come, and next time why didn't you tell us? And I'm
Mhm.
like, when I told you, nobody came, so I was like, I'll go and clean up myself. So that was another thing that I realized: people follow your actions, not your words, right? So आपको
Right.
दिखाना पड़ता है उनको करके कि after the running session, I went back and I cleaned up that park, and everybody was like, "Oh shit, I want to be a part of this as well." Because I did send feelers to people to join, and nobody joined. So,
Yeah.
so that's how I started. And then when I realized people started getting their kids over the weekends, I was like, "We are on to something." And I was into my tech startup at that time. So in my previous lifetime, I was a techie. I had a startup, and I was traveling a lot because of it. So when I was traveling, I took this to various cities in the country, and that's how it started growing from a little park in Delhi.
Yeah. So the trigger basically was that you wanted the city to be clean, your parks to be clean. Was that the so?
The trigger
Was
was the running routes that we were running in to be clean.
Yeah.
The trigger was the path that we were running in. We were ignoring all the trash because I saw two kinds of people.
Mhm.
One who would just see and ignore, ignorance is bliss, and the other kind of people जो बहुत बात करेंगे इसके बारे में, गाली मारेंगे सरकार को, अथॉरिटीज को, और वही लोग गाड़ी के में बैठ के अपना केले का छिलका या प्लास्टिक बोतल बाहर फेंक देंगे. तो मेरा ट्रिगर ये था कि इन दोनों में से कोई लोग नहीं बनते, एक तीसरे तरह की कैटेगरी बनाते हैं. एंड दैट्स हाउ इट ऑल स्टार्टेड.
Okay. Fantastic. So the doer.
या डू द
Exactly.
क्लीनर
Great.
विदाउट
Leading.
स्टेपिंग इन
Yeah.
कम्युनिटी.
So
या
leading by example, doing
या
and showing it that yes, it can be done,
या
and then the people join the karma.
यस.
Perfect. Perfect. Uh, so from a society perspective, I have seen that when you look at the Western countries or you look at per se the other countries that I would say are much developed, much aware from a perspective of cleanliness. I have seen that there's a lot of public participation in keeping the
या
cities and their areas clean. The people are sensitive about it. But in India, there is a general, feeling that trash is not our problem. It has got some kind of a social stigma towards around it. There is a
या.
taboo that if I am going on a path and I see some trash lying there, should I pick it up or not? What will people think about it? So, how have you been able to overcome this mindset?
Again, when I started picking up, people would ask me questions. ये तो आपका काम नहीं है, ये आप क्यों कर रहे हो? एंड आई एम लाइक, आप जो लोग लिटर करते हैं उनसे कभी क्वेश्चन नहीं करोगे, जो गलत कर रहे हैं, और मैं सही कर रहा हूँ या मैं सफाई कर रहा हूँ और आप मेरे से क्वेश्चन कर रहे हो. दैट इट सेल्फ लाइक इज एन आई ओपनर कि हमारा माइंडसेट क्या है, राइट? ये तो किसी और की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. तो पहला हमारा मैसेज ही यही था कि किसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. जनरली हम उनको क्या बोलते हैं? कूड़े वाला, कचरे वाला. एंड आई एम लाइक, दे आर सफाई वाला, वी आर द रियल कचरे वाला, बिकॉज वी लिटर, वी ट्रैश. तो सबसे पहले तो वो स्टिग्मा हटाने की कोशिश कि उन लोगों को इक्वल रिस्पेक्ट मिलनी चाहिए इन द सोसाइटी. चाहे कोई डॉक्टर हो, इंजीनियर हो, आप हो, मैं हूँ, कोई साइंटिस्ट हो, कोई प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो, कोई भी हो. We all are working towards earning a bread for our family and doing something for the country. तो सबको equal respect मिलनी चाहिए, and that's how we try to break the stigma. और जब आप खुद से झुक के किसी और का कचरा उठाते हो तो आप कचरा नहीं फैलाओगे, right? And that is like the a major step in achieving a litter free India. बट उसके साथ साथ आपका स्टिग्मा भी खत्म हो रहा है, एंड बिकॉज वी मेड इट कूल, तो अगर आप 10 लोगों को वो करते हुए देखोगे तो 4 लोग और बोलेंगे यार आई वांट टू डू दिस. तो स्लोली एंड स्टेडली आई एम प्रीटी श्योर कि ये स्टिग्मा खत्म होता जा रहा है. किसी भी आप स्ट्रैटा ऑफ सोसाइटी से हो, आज आप लिटर उठाना चाहते हो, कचरा उठाना चाहते हो, आई हर्ड दिस प्लॉगिंग टर्म इज वेरी कूल, आई हर्ड दिस ट्रैश वर्कआउट, मेरे को भी करना है. तो ओवर द last 7 years we've been able to build that in a way कि लोग, there's no not enough stigma, there is still stigma, but इतना stigma नहीं है कि आज लोग ये ना करें. Everybody is wanting to be a part of it, whether for a photo op या really trying to make a change, but वो change आ रहा है.
Right, right. So is it because it's a cool term, as you mentioned? I'm just taking a cue from your that people want to participate, or do they really feel that yes, there's a sense of responsibility in them that yes, we should do it, or is there a pivot somewhere in between that it starts with the cool and then it gets into their habit?
Correct. So it starts with the cool and then slowly it becomes a habit. But it starts with the cool for the youth. Not every age category, I'm guessing, is into the cool. It's the millennials, the Gen Zs who want it to be cool so that it's good on their social media. But then the fact is that one particular action of you bending down to pick up somebody else's litter, that itself is an eye opener. तो कोई आपको प्रीच नहीं कर रहा है, समझा नहीं रहा ये गलत चीज है, ऐसे करना चाहिए. आप खुद वो एक्शन कर रहे हो और उसके बेसिस पे आप अपनी एक अवेयरनेस बना रहे हो, एंड आगे चल के आपको पता है कि मैंने ये जो काम किया है, जब मैंने कचरा उठाया है किसी और का, तो मेरे को कचरा नहीं फैलाना चाहिए. दैट इज रॉन्ग, एंड दैट्स समथिंग दैट आई acquired as an action that I've done myself, right? So that is the change that is happening, and it is forming a chain. I always say this, it forms a chain of change because somebody else sees you and does the same, and then somebody else, and then your family and community, and slowly that's how the change propagates.
Yeah. So who was your biggest critic in this, the starting of the journey?
I I can't remember anybody who was critique, but हंसते हैं लोग, आपके फ्रेंड्स ही हंसते हैं. कुछ लोग सपोर्ट करते हैं, कुछ लोग आपको सामने से सपोर्ट करते हैं, पीछे से कुछ और बोलते हैं, बट दैट हैपेंस एवरीवेयर, राइट? और जब आप कोई भी बदलाव लाना चाहते हो, कोई भी चेंज लाना चाहते हो, it wouldn't be that 100 people will support you from day one. Most likely you will start alone, क्योंकि चेंज तो तभी मतलब अगर वो इतना डिफिकल्ट नहीं होता तो कोई भी कर रहा होता. तो द फन इज टू डू समथिंग व्हिच नॉट अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल बिलीव इन, कि ये हो सकता है, ये आप कर सकते हो, एंड टेक दैट चैलेंज, डू इट, एंड लाइक आई सेड, पीपल विल फॉलो योर एक्शन. जब आप कर लोगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली जो 10 लोग आपको क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं वही आपको ज्वाइन करेंगे, आपको सपोर्ट करेंगे, एंड स्लोली मोर एंड मोर पीपल विल ज्वाइन इन.
Great. Fantastic. I think there's some really good thoughts, Ripu. So, as you mentioned that you were a IT professional earlier,
Yeah.
and then you picked up this, habit of taking care of the litter. That your trash is my trash, and my trash is also my trash. If I can take that as a
Yeah.
as a cue from the lines that you mentioned, when did you decide that okay, this is going to be a full-time activity, and how difficult was it for a startup IT techie professional who wanted to make it big in the IT world, switching over to this? So let's understand your emotions. What went through your mind? What was the pivot? How did the things really happen?
श्योर. सो 2018 की बात है, 1-1.5 साल उससे ऊपर हो चुका था ये काम मुझे करते हुए, along with my tech startup work. अब we were in Ladakh at that time in 2018, और जब मैंने वहां पर one of the highest motorable roads पे हमने रन करते हुए गए, आखिरी के 10 किलोमीटर we ran. कोई नहीं आता, बहुत कम लोग आते हैं वहां पे. वरेला, द पास इज कॉल्ड वरेला पास. तो वहां
Okay.
पर हम गए और मुझे वहां पे कचरा दिखा काफी सारा, और एंड दैट वाज like an eye opener. I was like, यहाँ पे तो लोग भी नहीं आते, टूरिस्ट नहीं आते, तो यहाँ पे कचरा कैसे है? एंड वहां पे हमने सफाई की, कुछ लोग मेरे साथ जो थे, हमने सबने मिलकर सफाई की. एंड आई थिंक दैट वाज माय टर्निंग पॉइंट. दैट वाज लाइक, ओके, अब मैं ये काम फुल टाइम करना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि द टास्क इज ऑनरस, इट्स ह्यूज, इट्स ह्यूमंगस, और आई वांट टू टेक दिस अप एज अ चैलेंज. एंड आई रियलाइज आई कांट कैरी ऑन लाइक दिस, कि एक पैर मेरा अपना टेक स्टार्टअप में है और एक पैर यहाँ पर है. सो आई डिसाइडेड टू पुट बोथ माय फीट इन दिस बोट एंड लीव द टेक स्टार्टअप. ज्यादा थिंकिंग नहीं की, क्योंकि थिंकिंग करता है प्रीटी श्योर नहीं मैं स्विच मारता, नहीं मैं ये बहुत बड़ा जंप, इट इज अ ह्यूज जंप. एंड टू एवरीबडी आउट देयर आई ऑलवेज टेल देम, फर्स्ट टेस्ट योर सेल्फ इन शैलो वाटर. स्विमिंग, अगर आपको स्विमिंग करनी है तो ओशन में मत कूदो, पहले स्विमिंग पूल में जाओ. बट मैंने मैंने ओशन में छलांग मार दी थी या है, और अभी भी वो चल रहा है. सो या, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू टेस्ट योर सेल्फ इन शैलो वाटर्स. अपना एक फाइनेंशियल प्लान होना चाहिए फॉर द एटलीस्ट 1 to 2 years, एटलीस्ट 2 years. उसके अलावा इमीडिएटली आप क्या करने वाले हो, ड्रॉ अप अ प्लान. आई डेंट मेक एनी ऑफ दोज, क्योंकि अगर मैंने किया होता, लाइक आई सेड, मैंने इतना बड़ा जंप नहीं मारा होता.
Yeah. So then again, I mean, I'll just take a layering question from this. You just
Yeah,
mentioned that, the financial planning you did not do. So did you face any issues? Uh,
of course. Big time. बिग बिग टाइम. क्योंकि मैंने सोचा ही नहीं था कि इससे मेरे को अपनी अर्निंग करनी है. आई हैड टच वुड गुड अमाउंट ऑफ सेविंग्स फ्रॉम माय प्रीवियस लाइफ टाइम. तो एंड
why do you
लिटरली आई
call it
हैड,
previous lifetime? Sorry for
बिकॉज
intervening in between.
so previous lifetime means it's been 7 years almost now.
Yeah.
So that was
Are
my
you taking
tech.
it to a spiritual level?
Not
Uh-huh.
really, but it was me being a techie, wanting to get the best in life. I had a high flying career, literally. I used to take 4 to 6 flights a week, be in 3, 4 different cities every week, were running from airports to lounges to customer locations to office. That was my life. All I wanted to do was run a rat race every day, and I was doing well at it, walking, climbing up the corporate ladder pretty fast. So I was very happy in what I was doing, and I was very passionate about it. But to give you an example, some of my team members were like the uh, एप्पल का लैपटॉप लॉन्च होता है या फोन लॉन्च होता है या आईपॉड लॉन्च होता है, they were the first ones in India to get a hand of it. Right, so that was my circle at that time, very consumeristic, wanting to get the best in life in everything and anything, and very passionate and very high achieving people around me as well. And I mean, I'm proud to say I was one of them as well in terms of achievement. I wasn't that consumeristic, but at least I was trying to do my best in whatever career that I had. But from there to deciding, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to pick up litter off the streets. I want to make India litter free, and I want to get everybody involved in this. It is sort of a spiritual switch as well, to a point, and that's why I say it's my previous lifetime. And it's been a long time. It's been 7 years. So yeah, it happened in Ladakh. Probably I was high on some 50% oxygen, and that's when I decided to do that.
That's an interesting one. Fantastic.
Yeah,
So, yeah. That's really very funny, Ripu. I really like the comment, that you were high on 50% oxygen and probably you took a deep dive into the ocean. Hmm? So,
yeah,
right from the mountains to the ocean, you've covered the entire landscape.
yeah,
Yeah. And I can see, I mean, I can really feel the vibe, while we are not sitting in the same room, we're sitting across on this virtual medium, but I can really feel the vibe that you're throwing across right now. And I can see that, jeda Punjabi ch kehte na noor, I can see that on your face, that when you're
which is
talking
like
about it,
from
the
outside.
sense, yeah, but it's still coming from inside. And I can really feel that, it's you're really throwing it from inside out, and it's really reflecting on you. So, and I'm sure our viewers are feel the same as well about this. Yeah, because moving from a very high flying, IT career, because I am myself an IT person, and I've done about 23 years now in IT. So
Wow.
this has not triggered to me, from that perspective. But yes, on an
Yeah.
individualistic level, I am really sensitive about cleanliness as well, but
We
not to
should
the
all
level
be.
where you have taken. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm saying we should all be aware and sensitive, and that is all required, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, we don't have to take such big risky jumps into the oceans.
Yeah. Fantastic. I think everybody has their own journey, but
Yeah.
great to hear your thoughts on this one. So, let's talk about your, some very significant campaigns that you have organized from a perspective of, as I was going through your bio, I realized that you have, traveled across the heartland from one corner of the country to the other corner of country. We have done some significant solo trips on running and on riding. How has this journey been? What was your starting point? What happened in the mid? How did it culminate? I mean, let's pick up, a few and understand your journey.
So the biggest one that I did was in 2019, because 2016 I had started, and 3 साल हो चुके थे, and 2018 में I took that big jump. So now I was like, now I want to do something big, so that it reaches a lot more people. And that's when this idea of Run to Make India Litter Free came, where I decided to run in 50 cities in 50 days, cleaning up 1,000 kilometers on foot. It was an unprecedented campaign. There was no precedent anywhere of such a campaign in the world. So we didn't know what we were getting into, but we just got into completely with passion. Or then, I mean, we got some crowdfunding. We got a sponsor as well, and we just started on that journey from Kochi, because I knew people in Kochi. It was the southernmost point where we could go with our journey. So we started from there and traveled all over south, west, east. Went up to Guwahati and then finished going up to Jammu and finished in Delhi. So in that journey itself, by the third week or so, we got a call from the Prime Minister, and like one random fine day, you just get a call from a private number. So private number is ringing, and you're like, should I pick up or not? Because it could be a
Yeah.
spam call or hacking call. You don't know. So you're picking. Somehow I decided, okay, let's pick up. And on the other side, it was the prime minister saying, "मैं नरेंद्र मोदी बोल रहा हूँ." So I'm like, कोई मजाक तो नहीं कर रहा, prank तो नहीं कर रहा, because I am not in the mood for a joke right now. But then we spoke for 15-20 minutes. He heard what we were doing. He asked me, "ये प्लॉगिंग क्या होता है?" And towards the end of the call, he said, we will join. I want to do this with you, and we want the entire country to join you for it. और 3 दिन बाद October 2nd 2019 को महात्मा गांधी के 150th जयंती पे the entire country participated. 65,000 locations, 40 lakh people. I mean, those are things which are surreal, right? You don't ask for, you don't build, you don't plan. Those things just happen. So October 2nd 2019 was a day when I felt life came a full circle.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I would really want you to pause, go back to that phone call, and
Yeah.
let's get into, you kind of compacted it into like only 5 seconds. So let's see that, 15-minute conversation in 3 minutes,
Oh, okay.
because because he's an aspirational leader. Everybody knows, he's leading the country to the future. We all understand that, and we see that he's taken some really excellent initiatives. But somebody gets to speak to him. It's like one chance in a million or maybe a billion, right? And if it is an unappointed call, I'm sure it is really out of the blue. So,
Yeah.
let's get into that moment. Let's see what Ripudaman felt, where he was, what happened in those 5-10 minutes. What was that conversation all about?
So I was in Pune, और मेरा रेडियो सिटी में इंटरव्यू था, और मैं रेडियो सिटी के ऑफ मतलब रिकॉर्डिंग स्टूडियो के जस्ट एंटर किया, एंड तभी मुझे कॉल आया, एंड आई वाज लाइक, ओके, शुड आई पिक अप, नॉट पिक अप? And I took a step back, took a step out of the door, and I picked up. एंड जैसे ही मुझे लगा कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर ही है, सो आई टोल्ड माई टीम के इम्पोर्टेंट कॉल, अर्जेंट कॉल, आप आरजे को प्लीज समझा देना. एंड देन आई because I couldn't tell them at that time कि
या
किसका कॉल था. एंड फिर साइड में जाके स्टेयर केस पे लोग आ रहे हैं, जा रहे हैं, वहां पे साइड में मैं बैठ के बात कर रहा हूँ. एंड आई स्टार्टेड, ही आस्क्ड मी क्वेश्चन कि आप क्या करते हैं ब्लॉगिंग. तो मैंने तब भी उन्हें, जैसे लाइक यू सेड कि 5 सेकंड में मैंने समझा दिया, तो मैंने 5 सेकंड में समझा दिया था. एंड ही वाज लाइक, आप किस कुछ जल्दी में हो क्या, थोड़ा विस्तार में समझाओ ताकि मैं भी सीख सकूं और मेरे साथ पूरा देश सीख सके. So that was when it put me at ease, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna talk for long. ये छोटा सा call नहीं है. And I started explaining about what our mission is, Litter Free India, कितने शहरों में हम जा चुके हैं. और then he said a couple of things which were very nice. Which was, one was like, I think towards the end of the call, he was like, आप जो ये कर रहे हो और जो आपने इंस्पिरेशन लिया है महात्मा गांधी जी से, तो आप सिर्फ उनके आपके एक्शंस में नहीं बल्कि कहीं किसी तरीके से आपके शब्दों में भी वो सरलता आ गई है जो महात्मा गांधी के शब्दों में हुआ करती थी. सो दैट वाज लाइक ह्यूज. आई एम लाइक, ओके, दैट इज I don't have how I don't have words to describe what that feeling was in that moment, but it felt great. And then he said कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया will do this with you. और मुझे बाद में लोगों ने बताया कि आपका ये जो मिशन है ये गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने अडॉप्ट किया, और वो भारत का ऐसा पहला सच सिटीजन लेड मूवमेंट है जो कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने अडॉप्ट किया. और आज की डेट में हर मिनिस्ट्री, हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इसको करता है, मैंडेट है उनको करने का. तो मैं अभी रिसेंटली, जैसे इसरो के चेयरमैन जो कि एस सोमनाथ सर हैं, जिन्होंने हमें चंद्रयान, ही लेड
यस.
अस टू द इंडिया मून लैंडिंग. तो जब मैं उनसे मिला तो मैंने अपने आप को इंट्रोड्यूस किया, तो ही वाज लाइक, आई नो यू बिकॉज हम प्लॉगिंग करते हैं, इसरो में भी प्लॉगिंग हर महीने होती है. So
वाओ.
I'm like, oh wow, that is so cool. So, but in that moment, it was surreal when he said कि हम आपके साथ मिलकर ये करेंगे और एक बड़ा एक कैंपेन हम अनाउंस करेंगे बहुत सून फिट इंडिया के अंडर. और जब उन्होंने रखा फोन, तो मेरे को स्टिल रियलाइज नहीं हो रहा था, इट वॉजंट सिंकिंग इन कि ये हुआ है, ये पक्का हुआ है, या ये ऐसे ही था, जस्ट ड्रीम, एंड आई एम जस्ट गोना स्नैप आउट ऑफ
Yeah.
द ड्रीम.
I'm sure it was
Yeah.
a dream, but the dream came true. I would say
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this was your longest, as you said, that you started from Kochi and went to Guwahati, Jammu, and you covered all these areas, right?
Yeah.
How, what was the similarity or differences in the response from people? Did you find any cultural differences? How did you overcome it? Or was there a commonality? Let's understand the fabric of India.
Fabric of India is very, I mean, I would say beautiful, very diverse, and yet it is the same. We laugh at the same things, we cry at the same things, we have the same emotion. We want to express. जब हम खुश होते हैं तो बहुत ज्यादा एक्सप्रेस करना चाहते हैं. जब हम दुखी होते हैं, every place has its own way of expressing it, but the emotions are same. I've always been a student of India literally, because I love learning languages, छोटे छोटे nuances of those languages, क्योंकि through language you can understand the culture.
Yeah.
आप उन लोगों से कनेक्ट कर सकते हो. And whenever you learn a language, or at least you could speak a few words, they do appreciate that you take an effort to learn their language as well, their local language. तो ये चीज तो एक इंडिया के फैब्रिक में बसी हुई है. साउथ इंडिया में एंड हॉस्पिटैलिटी एज वेल इज वेरी सिमिलर. साउथ इंडिया में थोड़ी सी एजुकेशन, लिटरेसी, अवेयरनेस टुवर्ड्स क्लीननेस थोड़ी सी ज्यादा है वर्सेस कई शहरों में जो हमारे आसपास हम देखते हैं. थोड़ा वो चलता है, एटीट्यूड थोड़ा सा कम है साउथ में, इवन नॉर्थ ईस्ट में. एंड दोज आर थिंग्स दैट वी शुड लर्न. कुछ चीजें साउथ इंडिया में अच्छी हो रही है तो हमें वहां से सीखना चाहिए, कुछ चीजें नॉर्थ इंडिया में अच्छी हो रही है तो वो साउथ में या ईस्ट में सीखना चाहिए. आई थिंक वी कैन लर्न फ्रॉम ईच अदर. बट अल्टीमेटली माई एक्सपीरियंस was very diverse, and like I said, very diverse and yet very similar. क्योंकि जब हम ड्राइव के बाद प्लेज लेते हैं, अब प्लेज हम कई बारी लोकल लैंग्वेज में लेने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, और क्योंकि मेरी आई डोंट आई एम नॉट Tamil speaking, but I would try to, and they will laugh, but they would also appreciate that I'm trying. So it
Yeah.
was fun. One of my best experiences happened in Kundapur. It's a little town in Karnataka, close to Mangalore. तो वहां पर हम गए, छोटे बच्चे, स्कूल में को इनवाइट आया था। तो छोटे बच्चे थे अराउंड 5 से 8 साल के बीच में, 5 से 9 साल के बीच में। तो उनको मेरे को बोला गया कि आप आके एड्रेस करो। सो मैंने उनको एक छोटी सी स्टोरी सुनाई, और वो इतने इंस्पायर हो गए कि 15 मिनट में दे सेड वी वांट टू गो एंड क्लीन अप द बीच। तो वो छोटे छोटे 5 6 साल 8 साल के बच्चे मेरे साथ 3 घंटा बीच पे सफाई कर रहे थे, और हमने काफी सारा कचरा उठाया। एंड that was a beautiful moment. Again, their language was not a barrier because those children knew English probably better than me. But
Mhm.
but at least the connection that we had was very, very beautiful.
Yeah, and with children, I think there is no prejudice, there is no
Yeah.
preconceived mindset. So they look at every activity as a fun activity, as a responsibility, and when they see their seniors doing that, they automatically participate.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's really good. So from the perspective of adoption, accepting your program across the country, how was the response? Did people respond equally with same enthusiasm, or there were certain pockets where you found more resistance than the other pockets? Any such experiences?
Yeah, ऐसा कई जगह हुआ जहां पर लोग आए और कहा कि ये आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबल, ये आप सब शोशेबाजी के लिए कर रहे हो, ये
Mm-hmm.
आप इससे कुछ नहीं होने वाला। मेरे को याद है प्रयागराज में चंद्रशेखर पार्क में हम कर रहे थे। बहुत फेमस पार्क है वहाँ का। और कुछ 50 60 लोग हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए थे। एंड जब हमने ड्राइव खत्म की, तो कुछ लोग आए जिन्होंने प्रेज किया, सराहना की। उन्होंने कहा कि हमें पता होता तो हम भी आपको ज्वाइन कर लेते। बट उन्हीं में कुछ लोग थे जो कह रहे थे अरे ये सब चोचलेबाजी है, ये सब सिर्फ मीडिया के लिए है, जबकि वहां पे कोई कैमरा नहीं था। बट बट ऐसे लोग हर जगह मिल जाते हैं। और आप जब ऐसे लोगों से मिलते हो तो आई ऑलवेज ट्राई टू हैव अ कॉन्वर्सेशन विद देम, and tell them कि sir, this is what I'm doing now, even to earn my bread. So ये शोशेबाजी नहीं है। बट देन यू रियलाइज कि एक दो काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट्स के बाद तब आप अपना सर फोड़ रहे हो दीवार पे, एंड यू ट्राई टू
Your time.
अवॉइड दैट। तो एक दो बारी आप ट्राई करो। इफ इट डजंट वर्क आउट, इट डजंट वर्क आउट, एंड यू जस्ट लेट इट बी। सो ऐसी बहुत जगह पे ऐसी चीजें हुई, बट बहुत सपोर्ट भी मिला। सो it's okay. It's always it's if you don't get resistance, if everybody is so in line with your vision, तो फिर चैलेंज नहीं रह गया ना। अभी चैलेंज काफी सारे बच्चे हैं, तो उनको वो कम करना है, वन स्टेप एट अ टाइम।
Yeah, I think this is really great, and the experience exuberates from your face, Ripu. So I'm again repeating it. So I'm feeling it. So you'll see me, talking about this a lot. And
Yeah,
I remember that we met in Jalandhar for a very short period,
yeah.
and we had a small interaction, and in one of my running videos, you just came and
Mhm.
moved moved back. So I'm right now preparing
Oh,
that
okay.
clip, and I will show it to you once we meet. Uh, so in fact, you went across, and I just realized that I was editing this video, and you came across, but we did not have this interaction. I feel so lucky that today I am actually hosting you, and learning so many things, deep diving, through this initiative. So that then this moment also becomes very surreal for me, for taking all the
Thank you.
experiences that you have gathered in such a short span of your, I would say, this lifetime.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So you've been running quite a distances, right? Um, and the general psyche of a runner, because I also do a lot of long distance running myself. I've been a serious cyclist as well. And it's like a जैसे कहते हैं पूछड़ गया. आज we have
Yeah.
to do this much distance, this much time,
Yeah.
and this is what we want to do, this is what we want to achieve. It's like a very personal thing, a personal feeling, right?
Yeah.
And generally, when you are in that enthusiasm of achieving your milestone, even if somebody who wants to pick up the trash which is lying on the road, which may have been created by the passerbys on those roads or by the fellow runners who have just gone ahead in that particular route,
Yeah.
we ignore it because we just don't want to get off the training that we are going through or the training circuit they we're going through at that particular time, right? So that same feeling कि वो कोई और कर लेगा, let's go, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So how does one, a runner or a cyclist, take a cue from your fitness regime where you use running, blogging as a method to remain fit and at the same time use it for cleaning up the route on which you're actually running or the places that have been identified for cleaning? How does that
Mm-hmm.
switch happen? Let's deep dive into it from a perspective of what kind of fitness regime have you built around it?
Yeah. So firstly, I mean, if you're a runner, you're a cyclist, matlab, if that is what drives you, you should continue with it. Right? All we're asking is that we need to be a little more mindful. And जिस रूट पे आप रनिंग करते हो उसको साफ रखो, which means you don't litter in the first place. That itself is a contribution, a big contribution. Um, then if you can, in your running group itself, you can use it as a cool down activity. जब हम ट्रेन करते हैं, टेम्पो रन कर लिया, इंटरवल्स कर लिए, फाट लेग कर लिया, तो उसके बाद वी डू ऑल cool down for 2-3 kilometers. So why not use that as an opportunity to pick up litter, and it'll become a more collaborative community effort, and everybody will like it. This is how we started as well. We started doing this as a cool down activity. Run करने के बाद, train करने के बाद, we used to start doing it. And when you introduced to different running groups across the country, that's what they were doing as well. Now people have earmarked days where once a month in running communities they do plogging activities. But pehle it was just part of the cool down. Even for cyclists, right? A lot of cyclists are moving into running today. So nobody wants you to disrupt your training. All we want is you to ensure that you are mindful about the waste that you are generating and you're not littering on the roads. I think utna kar liya to kafi hai. You can continue with your training routine. My training routine, I call this a trash workout, because you're squatting, lunging, deadlifting, lateral lunging, and picking up. The longest, for example, the world record that I created, 50 kilometers. I don't know how many thousands of squats and lunges and lateral lunges I would have done across those 50 kilometers while having a bag in my hand. So it was pretty intense activity for 9 hours and 15 minutes non-stop. So have to get to
Yeah,
those levels. You continue with your running and cycling journey.
right. Have you built up any fitness regime around it? Is there a program? I mean, have you reached at a level where you can say, okay, a 30-minute blogging session with Ripu, a 1 hour
Yeah.
blogging session with Ripu? Is there something in the right now happening on that level, or
Yeah.
are you
Yeah.
planning to do something in the future?
So trash workout is a trademark that I have.
Which
It
is
is a
not a
trademark.
trash actually.
Sorry.
Which is not a trash. It's a trash workout.
Yeah. It's a trash workout. It's a trademark under my name, because
Okay.
I created it. I made it like you have bhangra, masala bhangra, this and that. I have the trash workout under my name, and I do organize these workshops with schools and sometimes with corporates as well, where I make them do trash workout. And once I give them like that 10-15 minute of trash workout demo, then we go out and do the real trash workout on the road. Sometimes we go in the Aravallis, we trek and do the trash workout there. So yeah, I keep doing this with schools and corporates.
Wow, excellent. And this reminds me of my days in the academy when I was in NDA.
Okay.
So we used to, by perforce, do a trash workout with bricks, picking up from
Ah,
one hillock, running
yeah.
with those bricks and going to the other hillock and placing it there.
Correct.
And after all those 50 brick or 1500 bricks were placed there, then we used to pick them up and bring them down to the same place.
Yeah.
So I get the essence of it, that it is a workout, and then along with it, it also becomes that you're actually doing a cleaning activity.
Right. Just one thing, I saw a couple of questions. Do you want to tell them that we'll ask at the end?
Yeah, we should. So because of my getting into this very intense conversation, maybe we have missed it. But yes, so all my viewers here on the One Foot Forward with Harmeet by One Race, let's hold on to the questions for last about 5-10 minutes. In fact, Ripu, I just got a feedback from a lot of people on our last show that we had done last week, that we should definitely take up questions. So definitely
Okay.
we will do that in the end. So yeah, thanks. So just hold on your horses and let's get back into this lovely conversation we're having with Ripu right now.
So, Hardeep, please continue.
Yeah. So I think this is really great, and you have been kind of blogging since 2017, if I'm right, 2016, okay? And
There was no blogging
what are the
system at
changes?
that time. I mean, हमने जब start किया तो blogging शब्द नहीं था. We were just running and cleaning up. Blogging came as a word later. But yeah, you can say we've been blogging since 2016
Yeah.
or 17, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. And when did you hit this idea of developing the trash workout?
So it was like, so the idea was that when I see these blogging videos, they are running for kilometers, like 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers in Europe, and they have this little bag of trash. And I'm like, यहाँ पर तो हम कचरा उठाना start करते तो हम run ही कर पाते, तो ये blogging तो नहीं हुई. So that is why I said this is like the trash workout. हम ये कूड़ा कसरत कर रहे हैं, और rather than just bending down and picking up litter, let's make this a holistic fitness activity. So proper squats, beginner level किया, फिर intermediate level and then advanced level, where you can do jump squats and various other exercises. So depending on your fitness level. So for example, if you have a knees issue, you won't be able to do proper deep squats, but then you can switch over to a lunge, a forward lunge, a back lunge, and then be able to do it. Right. So according to your fitness level, intermediate, beginner, or advanced. So it was pretty much from the beginning. I think trash workout मैंने 2018 में नाम दिया होगा इसको.
Okay. And what's the response coming from the corporate as the schools? Any deep dives into that?
So schools has been always wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Please go ahead.
What is the acceptable? Sorry, there's a lag. So I'll repeat my question, Ripu. What's the acceptability level of the trash workout at corporate? How sensitive are people towards it? Do they really participate? How does yeah?
So it is it's a good response at the corporate level, even at schools. But we've been pushing to make this part of the curriculum. What I call this as is practical environmental education. क्योंकि EVS environmental studies हमारे टाइम से उससे पहले से पढ़ाई जा रही है, बट वो बुक्स में कुछ चैप्टर्स पढ़ाने से एनवायरमेंट के साथ मतलब एनवायरमेंटल नॉलेज नहीं आती है. You need to spend time with nature. You need to do certain things on your own. You need to have the practical knowledge, and that's where a trash workout could really help. Could be a starter for students in schools and even in colleges. So we've been pushing to get this adopted as part of the curriculum. चाहे वो Ministry of Education से आए, चाहे वो CBSE से आए, but it becomes part of the curriculum. And once a week, kids go out there and people and go and clean up. And I'll give you a simple example. The first school that we adopted was in Gurgaon. तो उसी स्कूल के बाहर एक सब्जी मंडी होती थी या होती है अभी भी. वहां पर बहुत सारा कचरा रहता था. So, and people, these rich people from nearby big apartments in Gurgaon would come and do their grocery shopping from there. But वो सब अपना थैले में लेकर आते, मतलब उनको पॉलिथीन बैग्स मिल जाते थे, वहीं से उसी में लेकर जाते थे। और आसपास इतनी गंदगी होती थी, चाहे वो ऑर्गेनिक वेस्ट की हो सब्जियों की, चाहे वो पॉलिथीन एंड प्लास्टिक की हो, सारा गंद वहीं पे होता था। एंड nobody cared. So these kids would go and would clean up, and not just clean up, but talk to shopkeepers and customers alike and try to persuade them to stop using polythene bags at least and keep the place clean. 3 महीने के बाद जब हम 7वीं बार गए, so every 15 days we used to go and clean up that place. uh, the shopkeepers had big banners outside saying ke no polythene bags here, please bring your own
Wow.
bag. That itself was like a big change, right? And
Big
तीन
change.
महीने के बाद हमें जाने की वहां पे जरूरत नहीं पड़ी, because the shopkeepers themselves kept the place clean. So we did our work, the children did their work, and उसके बाद we moved on to another place और वहां पे हमने सफाई करनी स्टार्ट कर दी। और आज वहां पे आई थिंक रिलायंस मार्ट है या कोई और मार्ट है, तो उन्होंने टेक ओवर कर लिया। अब तो वो जगह वैसी ही साफ रहती है
Mhm.
पिछले 2-3 सालों में। बट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 2018 जब हमने स्टार्ट किया था। So kids and schools can make a big change if it becomes part of their curriculum.
Yeah. So you gave a foundation stone to Reliance Mart. That's on a funny side. And towards the curriculum, which is the serious question, which automatically is a logical question to what you just
Yeah.
mentioned. Are you working with any of the departments at the government level to get this into the curriculum? How's the government of India responding towards it? What's happening on that front?
So 2019 में इस पे काफी बात हुई थी, हमारी चर्चा हुई थी, एंड देयर वाज अ पॉजिटिव रिस्पांस, बट देन द मिनिस्टर चेंज्ड। और वही होता है मिनिस्ट्रीज एंड डिपार्टमेंट्स के साथ कि one person is into it, one person is passionate or shares your vision. When he or she changes, then आपको दूसरे को कन्विंस करने में टाइम लगता है। प्लस देयर वाज कोविड wave happening at that time,
Mhm.
so we were full. So we had reinitiated these conversations. We haven't been able to identify a person who supports this idea be in the ministry, but we're trying. और इसीलिए हमने दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट के साथ, एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट के साथ, दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट के दिल्ली में ही तकरीबन 1,000 स्कूल्स हैं दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट के अंडर, जिनमें से कुछ 80-90 है जो उनके काफी व्हाट डू यू कॉल इट, लाइक आइडियल स्कूल्स। वो कहते हैं कि this should be our school model, which they want to replicate across the 1,000 other schools that they have in the capital, national capital territory. तो उनसे हमारी बात हुई थी, and in principle we are in agreement that we will train their teachers of these 50-60 schools, and so that they can continue with these flogging drives and trash workouts regularly around the school premises every week with students. और वहां पे अगर ये पायलट प्रोजेक्ट सक्सेसफुल होता है, so then we can roll this out across all Delhi schools, and that could be an example for schools across the country to adopt something like this.
Very, very noble idea. I think it's a long trip, but then you are a marathoner. So I'm sure that you will, and you will basically get, the citizen movement going behind you, which is already there. We
Yeah,
see all the things happening. You've already crossed that hump. The chasm that we generally study in the IT field, and that's
yeah,
that's what is crossed now. It is about just the adoption which is happening. So I'm sure that you will be able to definitely achieve your vision, as well as the people who are joined your effort will be able to contribute significantly to it. Yeah. And
yeah,
my love for your moment of glory with Prime Minister Modi ji.
yeah,
Just one more question
yeah.
on that front. I also learned that you participated in Man Ki Baat with him.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
how was
Yeah.
that? What was the conversation all about? Can you just give us a small anecdote on that bit?
सो वही जो कॉन्वर्सेशन उन्होंने मेरे साथ फोन पे की, वो बाद में फिर मन की बात पे आया था, लाइक अ स्निपेट ऑफ इट। तो हमने 20 मिनट बात की होगी, तो आई थिंक 8 मिनट की कॉन्वर्सेशन एडिट करके उन्होंने मन की बात पे डाल दी थी। द ब्यूटी ऑफ दैट, नॉट द ब्यूटी बट आई मीन जो मेरे को बाद में बताया गया कि our prime minister was on that trip, Howdy Modi, if you remember, in
Yeah.
2019 he went to He went to Texas with the then
Yes.
president of the
Trump.
US, and वहाँ पे हाउडी मोदी बहुत चला था. तो he was on that trip. वो रास्ते में थे, and I mean, this is what the PMO told me, कि but the Prime Minister wanted to speak to you before taking off. So वो पूरा उन्होंने setup अपने airplane में करवाया था, and वहां से he called up, and all of that got recorded before he took off for that. And I'm like, he was in such a hurry, and yet he gave like 20 minutes to that conversation.
Yeah, and then you can really understand that how seriously does he take up this, Swachh Bharat and
Yeah.
uh, the Swachh Bharat movement that he had started, how seriously
Yes.
it's been taken up. And somewhere down
Yeah.
the line, you had brought the Fit India and Swachh Bharat together. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so just 2 minutes on that bit.
Yeah, so like I said, right, मुझे वही दिखाई दिया था कि फिटनेस में लोग ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड हैं, सफाई में नहीं है. तो हमने उनको ट्रिक किया एकदम एक तरह से. हमने कहा वर्कआउट के लिए आ जाओ. तो रनिंग भी कर ली हमने, और उनसे कूड़ा भी उठवा दिया वर्कआउट करते हुए. तो they were literally tricked into this workout in the beginning, right? And as more and more people joined in, they realized it's cool, they should all do it. तो तब हमें ट्रिक करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी, but initially we literally tricked people to join us in a cleanup.
Yeah, fantastic. Wow, 51 minutes, Ripu. We have ripped it apart, if I would say, in the same analogy. And time da pata nahi lag gaya. We've been kind of, I try to compress this into 1 hour to basically get, the maximum output. But I think if I would be speaking for 1 more hour with you, the time will still be short. There'll be so many experiences, anecdotes that must be lying with you deep down in this entire journey of yours as a Plogman. So what's your plan for 4th Feb, the Gurgaon
4th Feb.
one race?
Gurgaon one race, of course, I'm gonna be there. Gurpreet told me there's a school, there are school students who would want to join me.
Wow.
So हम उनके साथ से vlogging करेंगे on the route.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I am really excited, and a lot of people who are there on the, as viewers today on our show will definitely be part of that Gurgaon one race,
Yeah,
which is happening in these.
If somebody wants to not run and vlog, please join me. I'm very happy to have your support, and we'll go and clean up on the route, and we'll ensure that. I always say this, that we need to ensure that the route is cleaner than we find it. That should be our goal.
Oh. This is an excellent line, and I'm taking a note of it.
Yeah, I've been saying this since 2017, since we started doing this with races, that we should leave the route or the trail cleaner than we find it.
Excellent, excellent. And I think that's one single line you've kind of summed up the entire journey, the entire mission that you have been following. So thank you so much for that. And since we've already spent 3 minutes above the 5:50 time, so last 10 minutes, let's look at the questions coming from the audience. So our viewers, please feel to free to ask any of the questions that you have. Please share your emotions. I have been seeing a lot of messages coming across, but I did not want to interrupt Ripu when he was talking. So this is your moment, your fan moment. Please, questions.
So the questions can come in the question bar. I think people can ask questions there. But people, I think, ask questions in the comments itself.
Yeah. So I'm just scrolling. Let me see if there are any which I can pick up.
Sure.
Okay. So Sonali is asking a question. Hi Sonali, thank you for asking the question. Once done, how do we make sure that this is followed and people follow your steps? Do you get any such feedback from already visited places? Thank you.
Yeah, so it's very important. Very, very important question. And I'll give an example of the, so this last year, the Delhi government, or Delhi, the Municipal Corporation of Department announced me as the face of plastic free Delhi. And we did a campaign called 100 Days to Beat Plastic. So Delhi under MCD has 250 wards. तो हर वार्ड में हमने जाके एक लोकेशन आइडेंटिफाई की जो इलीगल डंप था, और आई एम श्योर एक नहीं मल्टीपल इलीगल डंप्स होंगे हर वार्ड में, बट हमने एक आइडेंटिफाई किया और उसको लोकल्स के साथ मिलके सफाई किया, लाइक लिटरली क्लीन इट अप. So and before and after we could show in 250 locations across the city, and we handed over, literally MCD handed over those locations to the locals, saying now it is your responsibility to keep it clean, right? That's very very important, because you can't expect the sanitation workers or the municipal workers uh, to do safai every day when we continue to clean up. There are 2 crore people in Delhi and a handful of municipal and sanitation workers, so it's everybody's responsibility. So that is one way of doing it, where we get the locals and authorities involved and do this together. And when it's a concerted effort, I'm pretty sure that change will happen. And anyways, if there's a dump close to us, we won't give it a second thought before throwing a plastic wrapper. But अगर वो जगह साफ है तो हम शायद दो नहीं 10 बार ही सोचेंगे उस जगह को गंदा करने से पहले. So that automatically builds a change.
Yeah. I hope the question has been answered. Ripu, I don't see other questions. I was just scrolling through the chat. I also checked the the question bar on the
Thanks,
side, but I have not seen.
Sonali.
Yeah, yeah. So here you have the feedback from the person who had put across the question to you.
Sure.
Yeah. So Ripu, what is one key message? While you may have said it in many different ways in our conversation, what would be one key message that you would want to give to fellow runners and outdoor sports enthusiasts? Uh, from a perspective of your vision and the mission that you have undertaken.
So I think as runners, we appreciate. I mean, this happens to me, and I've heard this from a lot of people. That we become better people after a good run. So if we are better people, more humble, more down to earth, it also connects us with nature. And then it also makes us more mindful. And if we are more mindful, then let's uh, show that in our actions as well, and be more responsible citizens of the country. And anything that we do it with your complete perseverance and diligence, because ultimately we are contributing to the country in anything that we do it to the best of your ability. And end में मैं हमेशा यही बोलता हूँ कि जब आप भारत माता की जय बोलते हो, चिल्लाते हो, रिटोरिक करते हो, ऊंचे ऊंचे नारे लगाते हो, तो वो ऊंचे ऊंचे नारे लगाना इज गुड, बट वो अपने एक्शंस में करके दिखाओ. और सिर्फ सफाई से रिलेटेड नहीं, सफाई इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बट नेचर से रिलेटेड, आपके आसपास जो अपने नेबर से, या जो हमारे आपसी मतभेद हैं, जो हम कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स करते हैं, बिकॉज वी आर वेरी डाइवर्स पीपल, but at the end of the day we are very similar as well. We are all Indians first and foremost, before any religious divide or caste divides or this and that. तो जिस दिन हम आपस में एक दूसरे से प्यार मोहब्बत से रहना सीख लेंगे ना, उस दिन हम नेचर के साथ भी प्यार मोहब्बत के साथ रहना सीख लेंगे. सो भारत माता की जय उस दिन होगा, सिर्फ हमारे नारे लगाने से नहीं होगा.
Absolutely fantastic thoughts. And that's exactly why, we as a running community are called as one race,
Yeah,
right?
the
Because
entire race is one.
yeah, so because everything is together, it's one. Fantastic. And really, lovely to have hosted you, Ripu. I have really collected a lot of uh, great information, your experiences. While you have been talking about them, I have been able to visualize all those moments. Right from the start points, the tip over that you went through, uh, changing your career from an IT techie who would really make it big in the IT domain to becoming a socialpreneur, environmentalist, conscious about cities' cleanliness, managing litter, developing trash workout, right, and doing such lovely activities. Uh, how does the future look to you? They always say, "Na future बहुत वधिया है." You
हाँ
know,
जी.
how does it look to you going forward?
The future looks bright, I would say. And I think हमारे पास बहुत अच्छी opportunity थी with the pandemic reset, जो हमने थोड़ी सी lose out कर दी है, but not all is lost. और बहुत ज़्यादा डेवलपमेंट हो रही है हमारे आसपास. जैसे मैं अभी अयोध्या भी गया, यूपी गवर्नमेंट के साथ हमने एक दिन वहां पे सफाई अभियान चलाया, पूरा अयोध्या के घाटों को साफ किया, ताकि जब टूरिस्ट आए 22 जनवरी को तो उन्हें जगह साफ मिले. तो बिकॉज we are building and rebuilding cities, शहर, towns, villages. So this is the right time for us to build better, build greener. And that will happen at all levels. Consumers, जो मैं और आप हैं, citizens of India, manufacturers, to identify alternatives to single-use plastic, more compostable, more meaningful packaging, and then the policy makers, जो कि government है, ministries में लोग बैठे हुए हैं जो ये decisions लेते हैं, all of us need to come together and build a better, greener, cleaner, one India, right? Which is an example for the world. One race to one India, and not
Yeah.
multiple Indias. So I am very hopeful कि 140 crore Indians जब decide कर लेंगे कि हमें ये काम करके दिखाना है, तो वो काम हो जाएगा.
वो तो हो ही जाएगा. Yeah, absolutely. I am sure. Great conversation with you, Ripu. Thank you for being the part of One Foot Forward with Harmit, brought to you by One
Thank you.
Race. It was lovely hosting you, and some great meaning added to my Sunday evening. And I'm sure that you added a lot of value today to the viewers who were part of this conversation. And just to sum up, some nice one-liners that I have picked up from you today, which I'll be posting later as well. That number one, which is my favorite, we are the kachre wala and they are the safai wala. Because the entire essence of the conversation that happened today lies in this, because we are generating it, and hence we are kachre walas. And the other people who we so-called designated to pick up our trash are actually safai walas. So that's a very moving line. And another one, switching the career from IT to litter. This is an amazing one-liner that I have, picked up from you today, because, somebody moving from IT to something else makes sense. But when you say I switch from IT to litter, it's really, a daunting achievement, I would say, right? Then the other one, which I think really is an outcome of the experience that you have gathered, is that you have been able to successfully create something what you call as a trash workout, which I think is again an offshoot of all the activities that you have been doing, right? And you have been actually able to put your brains to merging the fitness with the cleaning up of the cities and the places wherever you're doing that activity. So that's the third one. And the fourth one, which is on top of it, is that the routes you run on need to be cleaner when you leave that route for what they were earlier. So fantastic, Ripu. It's been really a revelation to me and to our viewers today here. And I am really excited now to meet you in the new light on 4th of Feb. And I'll keep a surprise for you.
Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah. And I'm not going to reveal the surprise, but I have already altered my plan for the run.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've already altered the plan for the run, but rest I will keep it as a surprise.
Looking forward to the surprise.
Great. Thank you for such a lovely session. And I am hopeful that our viewers really picked up a lot of sweet nuggets from whatever we have presented today on One Foot Forward with Harmit. We hosted Ripudaman, who is the Plogman of India, who has taken up this aim and leading the way and become the beacon of making India a clean country, a joint country, and together as one race. And I look forward to see you next week for another nail-biting session with one more accomplisher that we'll present next week. Thank you so much for being part of this session. And I wish all of you a very good evening, a happy Sunday evening from the entire team of One Race. Keep watching these sessions on Insta Live, One Foot Forward with Harmit, brought to you only by One Race. Thank you so much. Good evening.
Sat Sri Akal. Thank you.
Sat Sri Akal ji.